And we are live. Okay. In today's stream, I will be adding multiple selections and the move tool to my strokes for my infinite canvas in C++. Right now, I'm using the Relib render, and then I'm going to abstract it away so I can use OpenGL or Vulkan or whatever is in the future, and maybe even port this to Android someday. That's a thought that occurred to me, maybe make this somehow like a Procreate alternative. That's a very big dream, but I don't know, maybe in some specific niche. In any case, last stream, where we got to was, let me just compile this program. CD dev mmapper, I'm calling it right now. I need to choose a better name. Here's a window. We can draw different strokes on it. You can see it's kind of blocky, but that's because it's creating anchor points at not each frame, but with a specified distance so that it's performant. And it detects that each stroke is different, like this. And then I can even go ahead and press 1 to have a selection tool. And here you can see there's a good selection tool. And it will always choose the stroke that's on top and then move backwards. So yay. Um, One thing I did notice though is that if that each anchor point is not really bounded. You can see it's pointing to the center, right? We need to go to the anchor size and then plus a few padding. Mm, yeah. And also that I have added the stroke size to each anchor point instead of the entire stroke for pressure sensitivity, but I don't know. Maybe it could change. So let's first address the issue of chat. Ooh, I'm offline. That's interesting. Just a second. Okay, no, I'm not offline. Let me pop out chat. Where is chat? Pop out chat. That's a lot of lag. That is a lot of lag for, let me see. And let me resize this. Okay. Now we have chat and everything's recording. And so, just a second. Yep. So we are going to first draw the anchor points. Let me draw the anchor points in a different color. So here I'm drawing the stroke.get color. And in this case, I'll just draw it to, uh, let me turn on eglot. We're going to be drawing with the color white, RGBA, and same goes with the last stroke, last anchor point in the stroke. I still can't see it. That's interesting. Is it that the lines are... Oh, I didn't compile it. The line should not be covering it up because it's before. Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. So when we now select this, it goes to the max anchor point here and the max anchor point on top. So we need to add the maximum stroke size. What could it be? Should there be a maximum stroke size? Should there be some padding? I'm not really sure, but maybe while the stroke is being drawn, it can store the maximum anchor size, and then we can go from there. So let's go to state.h, and here our stroke will have a member called uh, maximum 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 anchor size. This is going to be a float and is going to be by default state.cpp. By default, it is going to be 0. Okay. And we can get and set those. Get max anchor size and also uh set max anchor size. And it shouldn't really be a set max anchor size. Add anchor should automatically check for that. Uh add anchor and add anchor force. So every time we're adding an anchor or adding an anchor by force, we should check um if m anchors, if max anchor size is less than anchor dot size, then max anchor size should equal anchor dot size. That's basically it. This, well, now we need the same logic in add anchor force. I kind of dislike that I'm having to do this twice for add anchor and add anchor force. There could be like a similar function that would be like a post anchor hook. Or we could specify a Boolean if it should force or not. I think that's actually a nice idea. But I didn't actually git commit this, so let me just add max anchor size and let me commit. Actually, it's fine. Bool should force. Instead, should force isn't really a great name. What it does is it checks the size, distance, and then it places the anchor only if the distance is uh, good enough. For example, let me open a new private window. Say it, say it, say it, say it. So we could open. I don't know why this keeps happening every single time. Let me open a new private window, Control Shift P, tally draw. So currently what's happening, if this will finally load, is that this will keep drawing anchor points and it will only draw it if it's a certain distance or certain radius from the next one so that we save anchor points. But let's say I end the stroke here. I want to end the stroke here, but it's less than this distance. So it will force add an anchor point there. So we should be like, should check. Mm, like is drawing. Mm, I don't like that either. Should force. I guess for now, should force is fine. If not, if should, yeah, if not should force, we do all of this. Else if we just in place back here because we don't even need the latest anchor. Yeah. Else. So, yep, we could flip that logic, but then at the end we can do update bounding box and all of this. M anchors out in place back, and this should be the general logic. And so we can go to state.h and remove add anchor force. And then once we compile, we can see the errors that pop up. And add anchor force is in main.cpp. That's interesting. Force is nowhere in there. So is there like, hmm. So here we're adding true. Is that wrong? Huh. That's also interesting. Oh, because state.h has not quite get updated to that. Let me see. Add anchor. I want to make this a default. So I think that's how you make a default. So if I stop right here, it's going to create an anchor point at the very end. Look at that. So it's created two anchor points there. Oh, that was accidentally white. That was very lucky. Just like that. Mm. So yeah, that's working. And now we have max anchor size, which we can actually play with. Max anchor size is going to be used. I apologize. So max anchor size is going to be used to make the bounding box. So when we're in state.cpp and we're going to update the bounding box right over here, what we are going to check is that we want to basically add. So not only, okay, this is not where it goes. Let me make this dark mode because I don't want to flash your eyes. Pause, right? So let's say here is the current bounding box, and here is the anchor points we've made. Boom, boom, boom. And now we suddenly create an anchor point over here. Its x and y is over here. We need to update the anchor size. So what we do here is we decrease the x and decrease, actually that's it, we just decrease the x. We need to decrease by the x by this difference and this distance. Right now we store the anchor size as a diameter, which is very clearly stated over here. But we can then divide that by 2. So whenever anchor.x is less, we not only, that's interesting, why do we add to the width? Huh. Oh, because it should stay there, yes. If there's an anchor point here, it shouldn't just move the x, it should also add the width by the same amount. So the amount in this case is not only this, right? It's not only just m bounding box minus anchor x, it's also m bounding box, right? Minus anchor x minus this anchor dot size. Or we could just do it like this and then, right? Anchor dot x plus anchor dot size divide by 2. And then we can just set the anchor x plus like a padding. So we could make this a const x per like even static padding. We can make that like a config thing. So let's make that a config thing. We haven't found yet. So let's go to main.cpp, state.cpp. Sorry, state.h. And aside from selection thickness, we need selection padding. And this can be high key. This can be like 10, right? 10 is fine. And then we can go update bounding box. And then every time we do this, we are going to, yep, we're also going to be adding by the padding. So app state config dot selection padding. Now, what's interesting is technically this is the actual difference, right? So the bounding box X is now also going to be the negative of that. Whoops, no. This is going to be anchor X minus anchor dot size minus the padding, right? And the Y when it's less, when it's over here, is going to do the same thing. It should, since this works like this, the X and Y in Raylib, what we need to do is minus the Y, like we're minusing the X. So same thing. Not only minus anchor dot Y, but we also want to minus anchor dot size divided by 2 plus hmm. What's interesting to me is how this is positive, but this is negative. I guess because of this difference, I'm not sure. Anchor dot size divided by 2 plus the actual padding. And we're basically going to be having the same thing. We want the new Y to be anchor dot Y minus half minus padding. And when it's greater, what we need to do, so it's here, this is X over here, it needs to add to the difference. Right now it's doing that. We need to, and then it's also, it's increasing the width and increasing the X by the same amount. We want to do that difference plus the size padding and all of that. So right now it's taking the width and increase. Oh, right now it's just increasing the width. Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. So anchor dot x minus m bounding box dot x plus bounding box dot width. Uh, what? It's gonna take the anchor dot x. Oh, minus this. So it's going to be like x plus this. So this point minus this point, right? So width is going to be this is going to be added to width. The difference between anchor x and this, right? And then plus the anchor size to, we also want to add that to width and the padding to width. I know I don't really like this either, but I'll try to make it simpler. And same thing with y. We just want to add the same thing, and let's see if that changes anything. Okay, almost. So it did that. Not really on the y. That's super interesting. So, hmm. It's almost like the first one. So let's always draw anchor. Let's always draw these selections so that I can see uh, if if just draw it every single time. Oh, but it should be, let's draw it regardless of what tool we are on. Okay, let's do that again. So first, okay, that is incorrect by default. Then we break that bottom line and boom, boom, every time an anchor point is created, boom, boom, It even has a 5 pixel padding. So now if I just leave it here, and when I force add the anchor point, why doesn't it? Hmm, no, every time it adds the anchor point, it goes there. Oh, once it's force adding the anchor point, look at that. It doesn't try and update the bounding box with that. So I think there's something that's wrong. State.cpp. First of all, when there's nothing, we need it to be anchor.x minus anchor.size divided by 2 minus selection padding. This selection padding doesn't really make sense. This should only be in the shown. This what should be shown when drawing it, not in the actual bounding box. I don't think so. So it's kind of stupid of me. Yeah, but the anchor size should be there. Wait, so what was the point of adding the max anchor size? Yeah, it's kind of dumb because we constantly update the bounding box. So oversight again. Anchor dot size divided by 2. The width is going to be anchor size, and the height is going to be anchor size. So this is fine. And then we're gonna have to see. Okay, so now by default it's good. Ooh, that was weird. Oh, what's happening now? That was interesting. So when we're adding the anchor and we're doing it to be true, should force doesn't do any of this. So if not, should force else. So it just in places the anchor point. And then it updates the bounding box regardless with our anchor. Wonder why that doesn't work. So I think that should be there. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, let's fix this going to the left problem as well. When we're update bounding box, what's happening here? When anchor.x is left, we are going to add to the width minus dot anchor dot size 2 m bounding box dot x. So it's going to get the bounding box as x, and then it's going to subtract our anchor x and our anchor size divided by 2. That's the same difference. I do not understand what I could possibly be doing wrong. It was just expanding it. Mm, and the y is then always set to anchor.y. Thing is, maybe this is activating. Like doing this, maybe it's still inside. All the, okay, this increases it. This increases it. It's also interesting how, even though those anchor points are there, how it checks for collisions. Okay. It checks for collisions as anchor.asvec2, but it doesn't really check if it's like to within a direct size. I wonder how we can do that. So we can either take the bounding box and reduce the size by each of them, or anchor dot as vec2. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how we can do that. I wonder how we can do that. Okay. So currently, let me reassess the situation. There are multiple problems. So two problems is that going to the left moves the selection box. Moving to the bottom right actually does increase the selection box, but it it does like this. It only activates when the selection when the midpoint is outside, and then it adjusts. But this means that the last anchor point could just be there, you know? So to actually check for the collision point, we actually need to do something different. This we can check when Raylib. I hope Raysan doesn't kill me. R shapes, I think it was. And then check collision point reduction, right? And then let's search for that rectangle, right? So this is when the collision true happens here, and check if point is inside the circle, is inside the rectangle. Maybe we can pad the rectangle. So like when it's checking if this point is inside a rectangle, when it's checking that, all we need to do is we know this part's outside, right? But we can, and obviously it's inside right now, but this point's not inside. So what if we just like pad it by, but we don't know how much this is. That's interesting. So yeah, so we need to do this manually. So kill anyway, yep. And we don't need that either. Let's let's create a check. Is colliding, so that's bool, and that's going to be done by that. Home, and point in this case would be our anchor.svec2. So anchor.x. So point would be, whoops, I don't know how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, anchor, anchor.x, and then for the rectangle, we can just choose the M bounding box. The only difference here is that uh the only real difference here is that this check, so anchor.x should not be greater than or equal to M bounding box dot x. Anchor.x should not be less than um M bounding box dot x plus M bounding box dot width. So we need to do like anchor.x minus anchor.size divided by 2. And we need to make this a radius because this is being very annoying. Right. Okay, but that's greater than. So that can be anchor.size divided by 2. And when we're checking if anchor.y is greater than or equal to, so literally anchor.y, anchor.y, wait, that was a bad circle. Anchor.y is greater than or equal to, we need to check if anchor.y plus size, anchor.y plus anchor.size divided by 2, and the opposite for when we're on top. So wait, when we're passing, yeah, no, we can't really do much with that. So that's is colliding. So that can be is colliding. And we can make that a private function, but yeah, is colliding. let's make this a private function. Okay, fine. Before doing that, let's just check. If not is colliding, then add that. Boom. Yeah, it still doesn't do it. Am I updating it? Am I making? Yeah, I am. That's, and this error is still there. What's happening there? Look at that. That's completely outside. I think I flipped it. I think I flipped it. Anchor dot y plus anchor dot size divided by 2 is greater than or equal to m bounding box dot y. Oh, it should be the flip. Wait. It should be the complete opposite because we're trying to check if it's inside that. So we don't want to do this. Yeah. An anchor dot y m bounding plus height. This point should be less than that, right? So that means anchor dot y plus anchor dot size divided by 2 should be less than, yeah. So I was flipping it. See, this should work right now. Yeah, look at that. But the force anchor point still doesn't work. Okay. I also need to update the seed. This crazy seed has white as one of the random ones. Okay, look at that. Why is that so weird? There's always some bit sticking out. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, this is not working. I don't know. So let me fix the bounding box again, once again. Yay, stream's working. Okay. Okay. So when anchor.x is less than bounding box, so anchor dot, we need to clear the space up. When anchor.x is less than, so let's do this side. Let's just do this. When anchor.x, oh, because we're recording with anchor.x. None of these run. There's also another issue. None of these run because what we're checking is this. So if anchor.x is greater than m bounding box dot x plus, so this will only run that when that happens. Oh, we just want to do this. Sorry, not this. Oops. Anchor dot size divided by 2, right? When anchor dot x minus is plus, I'm not sure. Wait. Pehle was checking, whoops. Anchor.x should be greater than bounding box dot x plus width. So right, right. Keep saying pehle. Before it was checking if anchor.x is greater than m bounding box dot x plus width. What? Is this greater? Oh, that was okay. Let's do this one. Yeah. Anchor.x is less than bounding box dot x, right? Yeah, literally in the system, it's does this go to the left? Now you want to check if this is to the left. So even minusing anchor dot size divided by 2. Same with y, right? So the new y will always be this and this. So we will need to maybe factor that out. But when it's greater, this is kind of confusing, right? So when it's greater over here, we're not no longer checking if this is greater than x plus width. We're now checking if this is greater, so we need to add anchor size. And same with x. It's just a different coordinate system. And let's expand that out. So anchor.x minus, and that's also going to be minus, and that's also going to be minus, going to be minus. So that's easier for us to factor out later. Okay. Okay, now it's actually moving. Look at that. How's it doing it through the phantom as well? Okay, what? Wait, that's kind of, whoa. What the hell is that? What? I mean, it's kind of cool as hell. First of all, I don't know how this is that smooth. Why does it keep updating the bounding blocks? The the bounding every time. It is the left. So if it is left of that, we're adding width. What are we adding to width? We are adding the difference between the bounding box dot x if anchor dot x is to the left. So this difference, the x minus the anchor dot size. So anchor dot size, no, it's not really it. Wait, it's more like this. So the difference we want to add in width and change, the difference that we want to change is this. This is the difference. That is x and y. So x minus x. So bounding box x minus. I know this segment's been too long, but um, bounding bounding box. That's going to be equal to. Okay, we can set it to anchor dot x minus anchor dot size divided by 2. And when we're increasing the width, we need to increase it by the same amount that we just decreased it. So I don't know what's happening with all that. I don't think it should be different. We need to increase the width by the same amount we decreased it by. Oh no, 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 no. Because we're not minus equaling x like that. So if we need to minus equal x, yeah, that would be different. So if we wanted to subtract x by bounding box dot x, we would get bounding box dot x. We need to get bounding box dot x minus. We need to subtract it equal by bounding box. The difference between bind. So anchor dot x minus anchor dot size. So width, you know what? Let's just not make this equal. Fine. This is going to be this difference, which is the x m bounding box dot x minus this. Would that be a negative number? Yeah, that would most definitely be a negative number. Uh, would that be minus x or not? Not sure. M bounding box dot x width. Why is my brain just not working? M bounding box dot width plus equal to M bounding box dot x minus anchor dot x minus anchor dot size divided by 2. So let's do it like this. This is the distance we want to add to the width. And what is this distance? So what we're adding to plus is equal to width is the difference between M bounding box, which is greater, so it won't be negative, M bounding box dot x, minus anchor dot x minus anchor dot size divided by. This should work now. Why? Why is this not working? What is that cool effect? And why is it doing that? M bounding box dot x minus anchor dot x. So that is a positive difference, right? For example, this is going to be 5. See, this is going to be 5. It's going to be 3. It's going to be 1, right? This distance is 1. This is 2. So 5 minus 3, that's 2, and then 1. So that's 3. 2 and 5, that's fine. I don't know what's... So you know what? Let's minus equal by the same amount. Let's minus equal x by the same amount. Let's see what happens. What is even going on? Is m bounding back box dot x okay? We're checking if anchor dot x minus anchor dot size divided by 2. Wait, why are we dividing by 2? No, yeah, it's fine. If that's less than m dot bounding box, then we want to... Oh, we're using bounding box dot x first. So we need to use the new x before increasing the width. So we need to actually save the difference. This is the original difference. So const expert, I don't know if this is really const expert. It is not const expert. The actual difference is going to be yeah, it's not const expert. This const float difference. And once it's recorded, we can then add the difference and subtract the difference. Right? Uh it's it's doing it, but to the wrong side. M bounding box dot x. So what do we need to like? Oh, because the difference is going to be positive. No, 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 no. M bounding box minus all of this. This is what we need. But that's the same thing. I'm so confused. What's the left and right's working fine. It's just what? It's going to the... I'm gonna subtract x by the difference. I want to subtract x. Wait, is it changing the width as well? Is it doing that? Or is it generally okay? Okay, wait, aside from the width. It's fine. So x is going to be x minus anchor dot x minus anchor dot size divided by 2. Could it be this? If anchor dot x minus anchor dot size divided by 2 is to the left of our bounding box x, then the difference that we want to add and subtract by is bounding box dot x minus... So confused. What is happening? Such a confusing problem. Maybe I'm like, it's a bug that I'm just not seeing. Maybe there's collision. No. It only really updates when I'm outside. The collision function is fine, I think. Oh no, it's not. It's like stuck to the wrong side. No. It's just with when it's left. Bounding box dot x minus anchor dot x minus anchor dot size divided by 2. And then I don't know if this makes a difference. I don't think it does. It shouldn't actually. But like, it's still stuck to the wrong side. I'm not sure. Uh, I don't really understand. I don't understand if anchor dot x minus anchor dot size divided by 2 is less than. I don't I don't understand. Y minus y. What's happening? I'm looking at what's happening. Unbounding box dot y minus anchor. Anyways, as I was saying, why does it say the session's 9 minutes? Well, I've been recording for 48 minutes. Is that how bad the internet is? Yo, please. Why does it say it's 10 minutes? And wait, didn't I have 8 followers? Who followed me? Thank you for whoever followed me. Okay, whatever, bro. Is it like storage issue? What's happening? I'll just ignore that. Bro. Oh, because line of sequence. What? Look, it's just going to the wrong point. If anchor.y, should I add to this? I was gonna start doing random stuff. My bad. I'm sorry. That blasted your ears. Oh, anchor? Maybe multiple are activating at once. No. If anchor.x, if not, is colliding. All of this will only run when it's not colliding, so it's not like it's not updating. If anchor.x minus anchor.size divided by 2 minus anchor dot size divided by 2 is less than the bounding box x. Oh, because we're plussing in the x direction. M bounding box dot x minus anchor dot x minus M bounding box dot x minus. Oh, I flipped it, I think. I wanted the actual difference. Should I just take the absolute of that? The box x is the most positive, and then we're subtracting anchor dot x, and we're also subtracting anchor dot size from that. So we're going to anchor dot. We've already got bounding box, and then we're subtracting anchor size, and then we're adding, we're subtracting anchor size, and then we're bounding box, and then we're subtracting anchor dot x, and we're subtracting anchor size divided by 2. So I finally figured it out. Whoops, finally figured it out after seeing that it is always the difference between the less and greater than signs. And so I did this with parentheses, and now something like this. So it's working, but the only problem now is that when you start, it chooses some weird point like that. Look at that. It's almost like it doesn't add the anchor point when it's starting. Dot anchor dot x minus anchor dot size. Okay, so when we initially click and we add anchor, if we're not drawing, we got to create the anchor with the first stroke. But the problem here is we're still in placing back the first stroke. Right? And every time we want to in place back, it should still run stroke. Okay, so stroke dot first anchor. This constructor should return. This constructor should return not just say first stroke. Whoops. Not just do that, but also add an anchor by default. So add anchor. And so M anchors is still going to be default. And we should force the anchor, in this case, is the first anchor. This should basically, yeah, look at that. This should fix everything. Boom. We've got proper selections. Really like that. We didn't even need the state.h, whatever max anchor size I was doing. We don't need this. Max anchor size. We don't need this. We don't need this either. And let's put this into normal selections. Even really fast doesn't change anything because it will always run add anchor before completing, no matter how fast they're doing it. I think that's pretty cool. So, let's see. Let's not always draw it. Make sure we only draw it when we have the tool activated and whatever we've selected. So let's go to selection mode and look at this. We can select each different piece. It will always select the ones that's most front, but that's weird. Look at that. It's not selecting what's behind them, even though I'm hovering over it. Oh, because it should be closest to the anchor point. Mm. Look, if I click on the middle of anchor points, it's not really gonna help. That's kind of lame. We almost need to have like a collision boundary with the stroke. It's either you're close to the anchor points or you're, huh. For now, we're gonna keep that problem and we're actually just gonna record it as a GitHub issue. We're gonna record that as an issue and we're just gonna say, because look, if we go really fast, right now what it's seeing to actually select it, right now what it's seeing is, and now if I just do one more really fast one, look what's gonna happen. We can click in the middle of the anchor points, but it's not actually gonna do anything. How does it know though? How did I even select this? So if mouse button down and as we're selecting, it's gonna start from the start and it's gonna get the anchors. And if the distance between the our mouse's X position, our mouse's position and the anchor point is less than anchor size, then we're gonna set the selection to that. It's kind of lying to me because I can. Why can I select it from there? Oh, because the triangle. No. Why is that possible? Kind of confused. How can we click there? It's almost like it's padding it. What's going on? If the hypotenuse, am I doing it correctly? Mouse anchor dot x, mouse anchor dot y, minus anchor dot y is less than the. Oh, I'm doing it by the diameter. Right now, look at this. We actually can't select here. We can't even select there. It needs to be on the anchor point. We need to select on the anchor points. If we select in the middle somewhere here, it's not actually going to select it. Hmm. Like even just outside the anchor point, it's not going to select it. We need to basically create a rectangle. We need basically another bounding box, or Yeah, we need an intersecting bounding box and like a selection bounding box. So let's do that. So let's create a new issue. Let's see if we solved any issues. Selection tool. Yeah, solve that one. Um, selecting selecting a stroke only checks anchor point collision. So fast strokes with less anchor points cannot be selected by clicking between them where lines are drawn. This this could be resolved by a separate bounding box. Separate bounding box. However, it ideally should be tied to how it is rendered to be as close as possible to what you see is what you get. Hmm. Yeah. But we have solved selection tool number 4. So we can do get status, get add everything, get commit with a message. We can say, oh, we are still drawing it wrong. Wait. Are we always drawing it? What's happening? What do we do? Oh, we're drawing in the wrong stroke color. Where's the stroke color? Or should I keep it like that? I think keeping it like that is fine. I don't really care. Debug information right now is of utmost necessity. Of utmost? I don't even know English anymore. Okay. So here we've added a selection tool. Um, close close number 4 and closes number 4. And second of all, we've calculated a bounding box for selection. Bounding box for showing selection. And I think it's pretty performant. It's like we add it to the anchor each time and it's saved in a state, so it doesn't have to it's very event based. Even though it's like, you know, what's it called? The two types of GUIs. Immediate rendering. Oh my God. Immediate rendering versus event based rendering. Okay, I've been streaming for 1 hour 12 minutes. Kind of did everything I wanted to do with the stream. Should I edit these videos and upload them? I think I should do that first. Because what is are we right now? Uh, ha. What's left? What's left for next stream? I did that really quickly. I mean, The bounding box thing took a lot more time, but yeah. Multiple selections, right? And moving them around. Oh yeah, that's what I promised. I can't really move strokes yet. So I kind of lied. High key, I kind of lied. I didn't even do that. We need better selection support anyways. So I guess that's the stream then. I'll do that maybe in a few hours or after I tomorrow. But let's see. Okay. Let's see how many viewers you'll have. Okay. Thank you to the one viewer watching. I hope you do follow because in a few hours I'm going to be streaming again and I'm going to fix the move tool and everything. So, yep. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Oh, hi. How are you? My bad. I didn't see your actual chat. It didn't actually show up in my chat. I don't know why. When was this? Like, well, I guess he left anyway. Goodbye. See you next time.